Okay, in this video we're going to work on and learn morphing transitions. And the first thing you should work on, if you haven't already, is kind of doing half flips like I'm doing here. Basically you want to work on flipping the helicopter over inverted and just making sure that you can keep it there, it's steady, and you understand that movement. Now, it's good to do that tail in and nose in. Until you really get a handle of it. You can kind of keep it in one spot. You kind of get that motion of flicking it over and adjusting the collective and the cyclic so that you can get it in a pretty good hover. Once you get that down, the next thing to work on is doing the same thing but rotating the tail 90 degrees or 180 degrees, because what you want to do there is kind of rotate the tail around as you're doing your half flip, and you want to work on doing it slow and get your collective management down so that you get it timed just right. Do the same thing nose in. Just practice doing those half flips with bringing the tail around. And what you're going to find is, what I'm showing you here is the key component to doing a Mobius, which is a kind of a figure eight, a lazy figure eight of sorts, where you morph between upright, which I'm right there, to inverted right there. And if you look at the tail movement is identical to what we were just practicing with those half loops, the half flips. So to do a Mobius loop, you just take that same half flip and you kind of elongate it out and fly it like it's half of a circle or figure eight. And like the other lessons we've had so far, work on those until you really get them down and practice them every night. And once you can do it 5 times in a row, it's a good time to try it at the field and do it high. Once you get a sense of the Mobiuses, the next thing to work on is your hurricanes. A little bit faster transition. You need to have a little bit more control over how you make the transition. And in the hurricanes, you're not accentuating the tail movement as much. You're really just pulling this cyclic over and managing the collective so that you can get it back on the other side of the circle. So essentially what we have here is, instead of doing a transition so that we go into the other side of a figure eight, we're morphing into another orientation and completing that side of the circuit. As you can see here, I'm doing the same thing except forward flight. As you practice this, you want to make sure that you practice forward and backward, left and right for each orientation. And just spend as much time as you need until you get this down and you can perform these transitions smoothly in the middle and really have control over it when you get into the other side. Now, another side of morphing transitions is doing funnel figure eights. The difference in a funnel figure eight or a morphing figure eight is, instead of rocking the cyclic to get the figure eight on the other side, you're kind of pulling back on the elevator on the cyclic side. So as you see, as I come around here, I'll pull back on the elevator and then pop the collective on the other end to bring it around the other side. Now, just like the Mobius and the morphing hurricanes, same thing with a funnel figure eight. You want to work on the transition and get it as smooth as possible so that you can keep your figure eight smooth and consistent throughout the entire transition. Once you get those things down, another interesting thing to work on is doing a half pirouette in the middle of your Mobius, and that'll morph your direction from forward to backward. Really cool looking move, a lot of fun at the field. People really like this because it just looks neat. And the slower you can make your pirouette in the middle, the better. Now, as you see, I'm kind of moving these out, and now I'm doing more as hurricanes, as Mobiuses, and you can do the same thing and just pull that transition out and try to make it in more of a straight line. Looks really unrealistic at the field, and it's just a really neat transition to pull together. The key to all these transitions is to use what you've learned in circles and figure eights to really kind of pull a 3D aspect into your flight, and you do that by making the transitions look as smooth as possible. As a last step, another neat morphing transition is morphing loops, and you just basically go from an outside loop to an inside loop. As you can see I'm doing here, I'm coming back around the other side. I'll do this once more. And basically just work on these until you really get down how to use, just like in a figure eight, the correct amount of collective to really get it going. Now, you can also take that same concept and do it as a horizontal figure eight, and you can do neat stuff like I'm doing at the top and kind of pop the collective a little bit to push it around, and these can get really exciting. You can really make that look just kind of unbelievable cool. So keep working on each of these until you really get this down, and remember that the key to all of this is the half flip, as I'm doing right here. You really want to practice these until you can be really smooth on the collective and pull the helicopter around, and you can do it slow and in a controlled fashion. And that'll help out with your morphing transitions and give you something new to add to your flight at the field. Hope you enjoyed the video.